How's everybody doing tonight? This is another bedtime chronicles. Yes, it is. I've been meaning to, do you guys a video, but I've been so busy with working. And when you working more than one job, it takes a lot out of you. But anyway, I'm here tonight. And this video, I couldn't wait to do it. I want to talk about poor management on these jobs. Poor management. A lot of these jobs have so many high turnovers because they don't know how to treat the employees that they have. A lot of them have God complexes. That's how I feel about it. Just because you got a different type of shirt on, you feel like you can be able to talk to people any kind of way because of your title, not realizing that you can be replaced just like everybody else can be replaced. Yes, these people give you a position. They don't give you the deed to the building or a deed to the company. You know, the lack of respect on some of these jobs. It's not bad employees that are quitting jobs. It's bad managers that are putting people in position where it's just so intolerant. It's so tiresome where it's hard to work under certain conditions. And I'm going to talk about it here tonight. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I think a lot of these supervisors or whoever these people, these hierarchies that's over these departments need to send these people to some type of management classes. Get them some type of social skills of how to deal with people, how to regulate their emotions. A lot of people are just erratic. I don't know if they're dealing with mental illness, if they got a lot of issues at the house, and maybe the job is the only place they can come and dominate. But that is sometimes it's just too much. It's too much sugar for a dime. It don't take all that because you can't run the business if you don't have good people to help you run it. And ain't too many people, I don't care how much you paying, it's going to stay nowhere and tolerate people being able to mistreat or bully. Yes, some of these managers go on these jobs are bullies. And I love a good bully. I don't have no problem getting a bully in place. That's right. But you got to give respect to people to get it. And a lot of these managers on these jobs, you can't pay me to not think that these people are dealing with issues at home or they not really happy with their life. Because some of these people, you go to work, it's early in the morning, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and you got hell in you. Ain't no way you wake up with hell over bacon. You mad over bacon early in the morning. You talking to people any kind of way because of the different type of shirt you got on. And you know darn well if you was to see these people outside that job on the street, you wouldn't talk to them like that. But most of them, especially if it's a low paying job, a lot of these people got some type of criminal record or something that, some type of X on their back where they got to take whatever they could get to be able to take care of their families. And I just think it's so wrong to just do people any kind of way. Now, don't get me wrong. Hey, if you got to talk to a person and get them in line, because they're doing things that they ought not be doing on the job. Hey, you got a right to speak on what needs to be spoke on. But even in doing that, it's a way to do it. You got children and spouses or whatever at the house, you go dominate them. You don't dominate your employees on the job. You don't get a position to be able to, you're in that place to be able to, direct them and make sure everything runs smooth, to have things in order. That's what you're in place for. You're not in place to take advantage and have a power play. Because I really think it has a lot to do with egos on this job. Well, I got this different shirt on, or I got this title, and you're going to do what I tell you to do. No, ain't nobody belong to the state or in no penitentiary or nothing like that where, they belong to the state. They don't belong to themselves. No, them people drove to them jobs. They're at those jobs at free will. Not because they have, some people have to be there. Bless their hearts. But a lot of these high turnovers on these jobs, especially the ones you're able to go in and just get it just like that, is a high turnover because of management, the way that they're treating their people. And it's going to continue to be a high turnover until management get right. Because what's going to end up happening, you're going to end up hiring somebody in there that's a bigger, badder bully. Oh, yeah, there's a stop sign for everybody. I don't care what position you are. You be done hired somebody up in there schizophrenic, that manic, bipolarness, just as thrown off as you are. And here it is, now you on the news or we reading about you in the paper. And be careful how you treat people. I've done so many videos, when this day and age, respect is something that does not exist. There are some of us that know how to respect people, but then there's some, especially when you go on these jobs, and some of these people is just hard to tolerate. But now they have the audacity to want you to respect them, but they have no regard or no respect for you. It ain't what you do, it's how you do it. Another thing on these jobs, backbiting. You're going to find that everywhere you go. Then some of them will tell you, well, maybe you do better working for yourself, which I'm going to do a video on that, which is true, which I do. That's why I told you I always keep more than one avenue open. I don't put all my eggs in one basket. I always got something going on. That way, if it don't work out right here, I always got something to fall back on. Always. Always have a nest somewhere. But I just wanted to take a little time to talk about, because I'm pretty sure it's other people that struggle on jobs when you deal with management that are unprofessional, that are borderline bullies. You go on these jobs, hostility, hostile environments. And, it's hard to go on a job and maintain it because eventually it starts to wear on your mental health. You can't go on your job and do a proper job with, walking on eggshells with a boss that's feeling themselves, that has a God complex. This is just my interpretation of it. When you walk around doing people any kind of way and talking to them any kind of way, and to go to show you God don't like ugly. Them big wigs walk in, a lot of times you don't even know they coming. When they know the big wigs on the way, they want things in order. They extra nice, they extra sweet, and good morning, y'all. I want, how y'all doing? And we got to get this, we got to get that. Now, if anybody from corporate office watching this, or anybody, any type of supervisor, just tiptoe on some of these places of business and see how your managers, don't even come through the front door, come through the back and tiptoe up on them, and you'll see how they're running the shift or how they're treating their people. Because a lot of times, people don't really want to say nothing because you say something to HR and your boss is probably like this. HR is mainly, to me, to protect the company. It's not so much about protecting those employees. They're in place to protect that company, to make sure everything, lawsuits, etc., to make sure everything runs smooth with that company. But a lot of these managers, supervisors, whatever you want to call them, I really think monthly they need to start having meetings with these people and make sure that they are doing things in order and treating people the way that they're supposed to treat them. It ain't about being sensitive. See, a lot of people try to make you feel like you a problem. Oh, you sensitive. Now, some people are not used to being mistreated. Some people are not used to bowing down. Some people think highly, have high self, personal power about themselves. It doesn't make them sensitive. It's just that they have standards. It's how you feel about yourself. Just because you don't feel good about yourself, yes, I said it, because if you come into a job and you raising hell 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, you upset over bacon early in the morning like that, there's some type of demons or turmoil that's going on in your life where you bringing that on that job and you're taking it out on everybody else. You're miserable. So ain't no amount of money for nobody to go on no job and tolerate disrespect. Or today you got an attitude, tomorrow you're happy. Maybe everything, maybe hubby, maybe wife, everything going into play at the house, because I really believe it starts with self first, of how you conduct yourself. It's a way to do everything in decency and in order. Not just, however you feel, or however the wind blow, or maybe you didn't take your medication that day. You come and everybody else got to deal with your attitude, and then you want them to respect you at the same time. Backbiting on the job, running your mouth, saying things that you ought not say about people and not realizing that it's going to get back to them. And then you want them to work good for you and respect you. Nah. What would you do if your whole crew just didn't show up to work? You would have to get in there and run that whole place of business by yourself. So I just wanted to get on here and do a little bedtime chronicles before I go to bed and do you a video. Write down, leave me a comment at the bottom, letting me know what you think about this, how you feel. I'm intrigued. But I just think a lot of these places, and it's gotten worse. Since 2019, since the COVID area, people have been stressed out. Things have not been right since. And I understand everybody is going through something. But don't bring your personal problems on jobs and take it out on your employees, because they're going through something too. And the sad part about it, some of these people might have, records. They've been to the penitentiary. They got other stuff going on with them where it's hard for them to find certain jobs. So they got to pretty much take what they can get. And ain't nothing like coming on a job where you go, before you even pull up to the job, it's like a dark cloud over the job. And you like, Lord, I got to go in here. Here we go again. Don't nobody want or deserve to be able to go on no job and have to deal with, excuse my French, bullshit every day. Just like you want them to come in there with a good spirit on them and a good attitude, and you want things, you don't want to deal with them like this. They shouldn't have to deal with you either. Fair exchange is no robbery. You treat people the same way you want to be treated. But anyway, that's all I got tonight for this particular video, but I had to speak on it. Going on jobs and dealing with belligerent management. Belligerent. Just talking to people crazy. It's a problem. If they got to go to the bathroom, you're mad because they got to go to the bathroom. And people ain't on no chain gang. They ain't on no yes boss this, boss that. Ain't nobody in prison where they got to check in with you. Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, let them know, hey, well, such and such, whatever. I'm going to step off for a little minute, go, is it okay? Yeah. But, some of these these managers on these jobs just take it too serious. You don't have no title or no deed in your name with that company. You don't own nothing. You are replaceable just like everybody else is replaceable. It just ain't your turn yet. That what they need to do is pray they don't get somebody in there that ain't got nothing to lose. Ain't got nothing to lose. And that's a bigger bully. Just as erratic and just as disrespectful as they are. Life is funny. Be careful what you put out. It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.